Management style number 4 is participative. So, first thing is don't get it confused with persuasive. It's probably the biggest mistake people make. They both start with P, they both sort of sound similar, they've got similar number of letters, but yeah, don't get confused. It's quite different to participative. So how is it different? Well, with communication. So first of all, participative uses two-way communication. That is where the manager seeks the input and feedback of team members and values their input. The type of orientation they use is people-focused, so they're going to place a high importance placed on the concern for the people within their team, believing employees perform best when satisfied at work. So it's not just caring about people just because you care about people. It's caring about people because you think if you do, then they'll perform their best. You'll get the most out of them. And that is what we call intrinsic motivation, where the manager motivates team members with opportunities for self-fulfillment and personal development. You encourage people to do things because you tell them this is going to make you better, this is going to improve your career, you're going to develop new skills. There's no rewards and punishments here where people, you might reward people, but you're not going to punish people for bad performance. It's all, here's how you're going to get better if you do this. Decision making, it is decentralized. This is the first one where we use the term decentralized. And what it means is the manager shares decision making with employees and allows them to make decisions with the manager overseeing the process. So we could use the analogy as a coach. We're making the decision together. So if you watch the NBA and you see, LeBron James, he's the one on the court, the coach, who at this point is Frank Vogel, he says, run this play. Okay, on offense, but then he says LeBron, he's not telling him dribble left twice and then fake a pass into the post to Anthony Davis and then actually pass it across court to Avery Brother. He's not saying that. He's just saying, here's the play I'd like you to run. I'm going to trust you to execute it while you're out there. You're sharing decision making together. Authority, so you're now using delegation. The manager delegates decision making authority to the team and is willing to share things with them, like important tasks and decision making, because they trust their ability. They rate the employees in their team and their skills. And lastly, the control. There is less control. I'm going to use total control when we say laissez-faire. There's not total control. We're just going to say the manager hands over a lot of control to the team to determine how they perform their roles and daily activities. The manager will have a little bit of control. They've got to be kept in the loop, I guess is what we're saying here. How could you see this style? What does it look like? Well, with our contact variables, the manager would, so starting with communication, the manager would say, hey, let's talk about how best to complete this. Here's what I think. What do you think? What's the orientation look like? The manager would say, are you happy working on this? How can I make things better for you? In terms of motivating, the manager would say, completing this will be great experience for you and allow you to advance. And allow you to, improve yourself and further your career. Okay, you're going to get the best out of yourself. Decision making, the manager will say, hey, let's make all the decisions together. I'll act as a coach. Now let's play the game. We're going to make all the important decisions as a group. The authority, the manager says, I'm going to delegate almost all the important tasks to you. Not 100%, but most of them, because I trust you. And control, I trust you to decide when and how the job shall get done. You don't need me looking over your shoulder. There's one task, however, I want you to do a set way. So we're maintaining a very little bit of control here. So when would you use this style as a manager? You would use it when the manager is best suited to the role of a coach. What do we mean by that? We mean the employees are experienced or skilled at their roles. You can hand over important things to them and trust them to execute. And employees are self-motivated and don't require your direct supervision or direction all the time. Like at a McDonald's where we said it might be an older manager with younger kids in the team. You need to constantly supervise people. Well, that's not what we're talking about here. We're saying the employees are self-motivated and don't need supervision all the time because they have valuable insights into their roles and how tasks should be performed. The employees are the ones who know how to do it the best. Why don't you just leave them alone and let them decide how to do it? And that's because there's going to be people who want to be leaders in that team. They're capable of leadership and they want to lead. And finally, or second last, it's actually really good when it's more complex and creative decisions must be made. When the best decision is one that's creative and requires a lot of thought and a lot of insight, well, it's probably best to hand that over to the team. And lastly, there's got to be sufficient time. So it's not good when there's a rush. So we're probably going to use this one when there is quite a bit of time to allow team members to work together and develop solutions. What are the advantages and disadvantages of this style? Well, there's a lot of good things. The first thing is probably that high team motivation. Employees feel they are trusted and a valuable part of the business. The manager is sharing decision making with them. So how could they not feel valued? That creates motivation. They accept decisions. Employees are more likely to accept decisions they help make. Rather than autocratic and persuasive, where you're being told and sold what to do, this is one where employees actually get to make a decision, and they're probably more likely to accept that. And you're probably going to get more effective decisions. Because decision making is shared, the valuable insights of employees are incorporated to help make the best final decision. And lastly, you're going to retain employees and have low turnover. Employees see opportunities to develop and expand their careers with the business because they're asked for their feedback, and that's how the manager motivates. They say this is a good opportunity for your career, so people are going to want to stay with the business. What are the disadvantages? It can create conflict. If we're going to get everyone's opinion and get their input, that can create disagreements because people don't agree on everything. It is also very time consuming compared to autocratic and persuasive, where the manager just says, do this now. This takes ages as employees are asked for their input and must reach a consensus. And lastly, it's not suitable for everyone. Some employees may not have the skills to participate, or a lot of people actually don't want to have to think at work. They actually want to be told what to do. They don't value their lives through the prism of work. They don't turn up to be their best selves. They just want to turn up, make their money, and go home. Well, this is probably not a great style for those sort of employees, because they're not good. If you tell them, I'm going to value your decision, I don't care. I just want to be told what to do. So it is not suitable for everyone, and you need to bear that in mind when you decide to use it.